So, someone asked to see your new tattoo. Is there any way you can show that off?
Show the camera.
I probably need to walk over to the camera.
Yeah,
Yes.
I thought it was a little awkward.
Are we taking comment requests now?
No, we were
Yes, we are,
talking about
apparently.
your brand new tattoo, and
Yeah.
yet there's no chance anyone could see it.
Oh no, actually, funny you say that. This morning the kids were asking like, "Why have to go to work so early? What's going on?"
Yeah.
Like, "Oh, I'm going to film this podcast." Explain it to them, and of course, they're 4 and 6, ultra curious. So next thing I know, I'm like sitting on the floor showing them the podcast, and that was the one I showed them, where I'm like showing.
It wasn't long before they were asleep.
No, they loved it. They're kids during a pandemic. They don't get out much.
Yeah, that's
Fair
fair.
enough.
So they were stoked.
This is the new socialization, watching people.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Like I was
Now to
thinking
show off
that this
my
morning.
psilocybin tattoo.
Yeah.
Like,
Hopefully that was in frame.
yeah, there you go. They couldn't see your little run you did there.
Yeah.
It's too bad. I was thinking that this morning. I just checked my phone like a little bit before I came in, and I had a comment like, "People need to stop taking pictures of themselves. We're becoming narcissists." And I was thinking, yeah,
Becoming?
we are.
We're there,
But
man.
at the same time, like, this is the new society, so
Yeah.
get used to it. How many people would you even see these days if you didn't do that? If you don't work in a public space, if you didn't
Man.
see them online?
It's weird too. Like I'm a buddy of mine from my childhood is coming in to get tattooed this morning
Yeah,
because of Instagram.
sure, of course.
Like it's just one of those like I haven't seen him. Well, I did see him a little while ago, but like realistically, we haven't seen each other since junior high school.
I'm always amazed at like when you see someone from high school and they're doing really, really poorly. Like they're like, it looks like their life has been ran over and over and over.
You like that?
No, I'm always like amazed by like how life can really
Can
fuck
kick you in the
right?
nuts.
Like you can
So-
really get you
Yeah.
So
hard.
I'm from New Brunswick.
Yeah.
So when I look up
Already.
any of my old friends on
Yeah.
on the Facebook or whatever, yeah, they're in real rough shape.
Same
it's
as
New Brunswick.
like my Nova Scotian like
Yeah.
cohorts.
Yeah.
They're all rough. And then it's like, good thing I'm not there anymore.
Can I ask a question? Just my Alberta idiocy.
Uh-huh.
Why?
It's hard
Why is-
living. I don't know.
Why is it so destructive in the Maritimes?
In the valley, there was a lot of like hard drug use.
The
that
East Coast has
people-
different priorities as well, and it's just
not
less
oil?
economically sound.
Like, is it fishing got hit somehow, or is there
I
just
mean,
no
yeah.
other industry?
All
Well,
of the industries got hit somehow.
The,
A lot of the pulp mills left. A lot of the mines left.
yeah,
a
my
lot of the
dad's
fisheries died off.
job closed down. Like he worked at a plant, like it was just like a chicken plant or Sunrise Poultry type thing.
Yeah.
And it just closed, and that's 10,000 people basically.
Yeah.
like, unemployed.
Interesting.
It's just that part of the country where like a lot of people work in call centers for a long time because the only place you can make 15, 16 bucks an hour
Hmm.
without an education.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I think that's kind of like coming from a privileged upbringing of Alberta, because Alberta is the oil town of
Yeah.
Canada. But like, it's weird to me that we don't have some sense of equality across our nation.
So as a journeyman electrician, I make 8 to 12 bucks an hour less out there.
Because
So
of
why
the-
would you be
it-
out there?
But that's
Yeah.
also cost of living, right? Like it's cheaper to live out there,
Nah.
therefore.
We
Well, it is
moved.
cheaper to
No,
live out
no,
there.
man.
That's the
we
biggest
moved
lie.
out here because it was so bad there. Like for
It's actually
finances.
it's cheaper here, I find. Like the
It-
groceries are definitely cheaper here.
Well, that would make sense because
Yeah.
it parses out in your
here.
favor.
It-
Well,
oh,
however it
oh,
works out, because
dramatically,
like
yeah.
we only moved out here because there was no money there.
And real estate used to be way cheaper there. Like it used to be like, oh yeah, buy a house for 50, 60 grand. But now houses are similar, like especially compared to Lethbridge.
Mhm.
Lethbridge is a very reasonable place for decent wages and low cost of living.
People keep saying that Lethbridge houses are like too expensive, like to rent.
Compared
Oh, to rent, yeah, for sure.
yeah.
But like I don't know. Cause,
We're gonna buy a house, and I will
like-
save considerably.
Yeah.
On my
well, I'll
monthly
tell you,
expenses.
when I lived here, back in 2008, I was renting a place for $950 a month, a
Mhm.
2-bedroom basement suite.
Yeah.
Like it hasn't gone up that much when you consider that.
Well, I mean, Alicia, she's renting a 2-bedroom basement suite for $1,100.
Yeah, so that's not too bad considering what minimum wage was like $8.75 back in
Yeah, now it's
2008.
$15 an hour.
Not that I was making minimum wage even then, but like
Yeah.
comparison-wise, doesn't seem. I think it's a little exaggerated sometimes. I think people.
It's like I think it's all just about in terms of percentage of what you would make in terms of how much rent is and blah 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 blah. It's not terrible, but buying a house is definitely cheaper if you can afford it.
Oh, sure. My mortgage is way cheaper than what my rent was in 2008.
Yeah.
And I would like my mortgage to be even cheaper.
Well, I think
I'm even
everybody
thinking
would.
like, well, but like it was cheaper when I got it. It was about 150 less than it is now.
Mhm.
And that was 8 years ago I bought it.
Yeah.
So it's gone up quite a bit, like the mortgage price.
Why?
I don't know exactly. There was some tacked on because of the deferral. Like I ended up spending an extra $50 a month after that
Okay.
because you don't just get that payment cut off your payment total. Like
No,
it
it
just
tax on.
exactly.
What- then adds interest.
What deferral is that? The CMHC
I had a
mortgage insurance?
Scotiabank mortgage deference.
Yeah.
For
Because of
6 months.
the lockdown thing, right? Like
Yeah.
they're offering a 6-month
Yes.
deferral, which everybody took.
Yeah.
Like
fair.
literally,
But
like
they're going to
'cause-
get that back.
Of
like,
course
it's not
they
just
are.
like-
well, and
Don't be
then some,
crazy.
man.
Yeah.
Because
Of
they
course.
gain interest on 6 months at the end of your term.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So that bumped
it
it
works
up
out
a
in their
bit.
favor.
But also the property, like the property taxes and
Right.
the area I'm in have gotten more expensive over time.
That's what
Which
I'm
is-
surprised. Where I'm looking, the property tax is much higher than expected for that house.
Mine's cheap, but I'm in the ghetto.
Where is the ghetto?
5A North.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you are. Yep. North side.
I love how we're
is-
talking like really local residential real estate
Yeah,
stuff.
in the
Wow,
podcast.
it doesn't matter.
In the
Wow.
podcast where only 4 people from Lethbridge listen to us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
sorry.
well, you know, that's what you get.
I just
That's
get
what you
confused
get.
because, like, I one of those things about being a country, you'd think that we would have some sort of like national like care for the rest of our provinces in terms
Oh,
of like creating industry within the
we
areas that
actually
need
do
it.
have that.
Well, we
Al-
do help them a bit. But
Until recently, Alberta's been sending millions of dollars.
yeah.
No, no, I'm not
to, like,
talking.
East Coast.
I'm not talking about
provinces.
sending money.
Oh, no,
Sending
no.
money makes no sense. Like that, I'm
Here's
totally
a care
against.
package.
Dude, I'm totally
you
against
send some
giving
Ritz
people
crackers
money.
too.
Like giving
Here's-
people money. Like that's that whole teach a man to fish thing. Like
Trust me, I know.
Like that makes no sense to me. It's like, oh yeah, here's some money and it'll never happen again, or maybe it will.
I mean, put
Yeah.
it this way: we tried to build a pipeline.
Mhm.
You know, I don't want to come off as super pro pipeline here, but I am
Pro
actually
pipe.
I am kind of pro pipeline to the East Coast.
Yeah.
Because we have millions of people on the East Coast burning Saudi oil right now.
Yeah.
And I'm not super into that.
No.
I don't think we should be shipping it across the planet to drive our vehicles in our country
Well,
when we already have too much of the dang stuff ourselves.
Yeah.
don't worry, they're turning on the fusion reactors soon, so we'll have.
It'll be electric cars.
It'll either we all die in a new sun that we made.
We need to stop
Or-
worrying about this. We're gonna blow ourselves up.
That's
still
certainly a
thinking-
possibility. It's either that happens or we get free power.
Or maybe both for a little while.
Yeah, woo-hoo! Ride that wave.
Yeah, it could be both for a little while.
I just always find that hilarious. Of just like, yeah, we're basically trying to build a sun, but we're gonna keep it in like a nice
That's
little
right.
ball.
Well, I was
But
talking
don't worry,
to
nothing can resist 1.5
I was
million
talking to my
degrees,
coworker
so-
about this
Easy peasy.
because, like, I thought it was
Magnetic fields can.
absurd
their
watching
plan.
Elon Musk try and explain building suns on
Yeah.
Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
But then my coworker told me it's really easy to build a sun. It's
Mhm.
not easy to maintain a sun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good,
So
good luck
building
holding
a sun
it in.
can be explained,
Mhm.
but keeping it there is
And containing it.
Yeah.
Because you basically have to take out the power that it's putting out
But I'm
Yeah.
like,
at the right rate.
I mean, I just feel like such a big dummy when it comes to this sort of thing because I would never be able to do something like that.
Man, I
Can you even
no,
imagine?
me neither.
What are you doing, Kev? Oh, I'm putting together a sun.
Yep, building the sun. Where? Well,
our
it's going to be our
backyard.
own private sun.
Yeah.
This
course.
country wants its own private sun because it would help a lot.
I mean, it would.
Yeah, and if we can make little ones of them,
Yeah.
that would be like the best thing we could ever ask for.
Has anyone built a fusion bomb?
So fusion, that word, is different, right?
Yes.
Fusion is where they're pushing together.
Yes.
Fission
Yeah.
bombs are easy,
Yes.
and fission bomb
Fission
was
bombs we have lots
that
of.
was a byproduct, right?
Yeah.
Like, that was a whoopsie.
That's
Which
right.
is, like the whole idea that that's a big old whoops. That's like
Yeah, it's not a
crazy
good
to me.
whoopsie.
I'm surprised there's been no like labs that are just blown up as a result of experiments.
Well,
Of course they are.
Yeah?
Yeah. Oh yeah. For
I've
sure.
heard it
Oh,
said
cool.
that you
Yeah.
can create in your basement with things you have in your house, you create a bomb that could kind of sever the world in two right now if you knew what you were doing.
Really?
We have this black ball technology now where everything we have, the things that we're capable of putting together in ways that could be really destructive, are numerous. And it's just a matter of time before some kid that's experimenting with some new science just blows up the world, potentially.
That's definitely a possibility.
Because it's not like you need to be in a lab to have access to these things anymore.
No.
Because a lot of the things that are combustible like that, we're having in our houses anyway. It's just about knowing how to put them together, right?
Well, I will say though, like
It's that
with fission, like with the way that they're doing it, like say a nuclear bomb, right? Like
Yeah.
you need a good amount of a very rare substance
fair.
being able to split it perfectly. It's like one of those, a kid stumbling upon that, which is one of the highest output things. Like if you really want to have a big problem, it's like what is it? Sodium?
Mm-hmm.
What's that one where you throw it in water and it just explodes? I think it's like sodium or something like that. But there's one that's like super reactive and you toss it in water and it explodes.
Phosphorus.
Maybe.
Yeah, I know that's not good, but it's the combination of being able to Google
Oh yeah.
and also
Yeah.
having
You mean research?
and research.
mean research?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to
Studying
research a lot of this.
Google. So the combination of being able to Google things and also having a lot of dangerous things in our houses now, it's to some extent only a matter of time before someone does something terrible
Yeah.
on a small or large scale.
Do you think Google understands what they did?
I think they do. Yeah, I think a lot of the high tech guys are really scared of what they've done. And
I think Google is inevitable. Once you create something like the internet, like
well, we had how many early adaptions of it, right? They
That's
were all
right.
trying.
because the internet
Ask
just
Jeeves.
becomes,
Yeah.
and then Google just happens to be the one that succeeded
Yeah,
at that.
that's where like people sometimes they'll be like, I did this thing, and if I didn't do it, no one ever would have done it.
Yeah,
It's
likely
like,
story.
no. You were
now-
the one who got there first.
Now,
but someone else was coming.
Alan Turing, maybe. I recently watched. It was based on a true story, but still kind of like fictional movie about Mr. Turing, who invented the first computer type machine to what's the word here, to decrypt Enigma messages during World War II.
Yep.
And that was a great.
Is he the
story.
same one that has to do with the Turing test?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was
Imitation game. That was
that was
movie.
that's the one.
Yep.
He was more philosophical with that because obviously he wasn't on the verge of creating AI, but he still created the Turing test.
Well, you don't have to have the AI there to know that we're going to get there
That's
one
right.
day, right?
So he was already envisioning AI happening
course.
back in 1951, years after he had built and destroyed his initial Enigma codebreaker
Yeah.
machine called the Bomba.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well, once he can look back over history and go, boy, we were all the way down here at one point, now we're
Yep.
here.
Yeah.
Why would it be logical that we'd be here forever, right? Of course, if he's an intelligent person looking back at the past, going, yeah, it's logical. We're probably going to be this far along in a few years, and then
Well, I think like in terms of humans, I think we're all kind of we have more stuff to make us seem smarter.
yeah,
But I think in terms of the way
Or-
that
yeah.
IQ gets divided and the way that learning gets divided and the stuff that we make and the stuff that we interact with is what we tend to measure our intellect on. But like
we're
100 years
standing
ago,
on the shoulders of giants.
yeah,
Is the idea?
like 100 years ago, we were kind of mentally in a similar spot, even though we don't like to look at it that way because they
Oh,
had
yeah.
less technology.
Well, I was talking to a coworker about the same thing just yesterday, and he said, so it would be like in D&D terms, it would be wisdom versus intelligence. So your wisdom stat is your applicable knowledge, and your intelligence is your mental prowess or your
figuring
book
it out
smarts.
skills.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But like I was like, I don't think it's either. I don't think we're wiser or more intelligent. I just think that we have all these years of benefactor.
Yeah.
Like we're just we're taking advantage of all the hard work and brains of our past.
Of course.
Take any skill.
I don't know if we
you,
could get there again from
Yeah.
scratch.
If you tinker in your basement on any skill, you can go your whole life and get to this level. You know, you've got put this much time and learn this much skill. But if you learn from someone who's learned from someone who's learned from someone, now you're building in generations of skill. You have several lifetimes of skill. So you start up here and then go to here.
That's the beauty of tattooing.
That's exactly
Still
it.
that old world practice. You know what I mean?
And there was a guy who wrote me like a 3-paragraph message on a post the other day, and it was actually pretty intelligent. But he's like, you know, back in the day, you'd see a guy with a tattoo, and you thought he was really cool or whatever. And now it's like people are working on their second and third and whatever bodysuits. And I was like, well, that was the rebellion of the times, man. Like you couldn't have this guy with a full bodysuit without that guy with the dragon on his arm.
Yep.
You know, but the more people who have gotten to that dragon on the arm point, the faster we get there in the future, and then the farther we go from there, right? So the more people with blackout bodysuits, the more likely it is that, you know, you're going to get there even quicker the next time.
Oh, of course.
Like, it's just not the same thing as it used to be, because it can't be. It has to be more than the first time.
Yeah.
To make the same statement.
But the drive is the same.
It's the same drive. It's still the rebellion of the times, right? It's just you have to try not harder, but different to get there.
That was like I was listening to those Flagrant podcast guys, and they were talking about Kanye being an influencer, not an innovator.
Yeah.
Where he's taking things that exist and capitalizing them in a different way.
Yeah.
And then there's like, because like if you take like an Elon Musk, I mean, you could say he's an innovator, but is he? Like everything he's doing, like Tesla is an electric car. Electric car has been around for a very long time, but he's doing it better. SpaceX, he's doing it better.
Also, I would put him in the category of investor.
Sure, but he's an engineer, right? Like that was like he started off with as a tech engineer.
I'd say visionary.
Visionary,
yeah,
sure.
I would say that's a good title for him.
But I just wonder if there's
You're
like
looking for one broad term.
Like where are our innovators and where are influencers? Or I don't even know if that would be the way to say it.
You remember when influencer wasn't the term?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Wasn't that long ago?
Yeah.
So what would you have called
meant
him
like
then?
The president.
What would you have called?
He influences things.
Like if you're calling Elon Musk an influencer, what was he before that?
Innovator?
So in this case, if we're talking Tesla, the innovators are the individuals on the R&D floor.
Yeah.
The innovators who are working on this one small component for a year, years at a time, trying to make this one thing fit in this space, become smaller, become lighter, become stronger, become better, faster, whatever. Those are the innovators. They're innovating this existing technology into its next form.
Right.
So that in itself is innovation.
Sure. But it is capitalizing on the history of whatever that thing was.
Anything
There's no like, well, but is
say you get a
like
car that can go 300 kilometers an hour, and then I found a way to get it to 310. Then you're technically an innovator.
You've innovated.
You've innovated.
But
it's not substantial.
I guess like then a creator.
Yeah.
Like true inspirational idea, like true inspiration is what I'm trying to drive at. Like, is there someone out there that's not? Because like everything kind of builds on itself a little bit, but like there's some like stark changes
if you want to
that
get
happened.
The philosophical version of this, none of us can simply create from nothing. We're all building.
Well, yeah.
Like it starts as simple as
what's an apple pie from scratch?
That's
Where'd you get that flour? Did you make it yourself? You know what I mean?
So I grew it.
Where does it happen?
Make an apple pie? First, you must create the universe.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't be the complete origin.
You want to make
of
a
something.
Tesla? First, you need to create a human network that uses language and currency.
The other part of this that I always find hard is that it's really hard to tell what other people are doing. Like if you think you've done something for the first time, but maybe someone else has already and they just haven't said they have or showed it off. You know what I mean? Like there's a lot of unknown, and that's why I always find it funny when you see people boasting about how they came up with something. That person may have watched someone else done it, and then bludgeoned that person, stole their idea, and published it. Like
I mean, that's happened a lot of times.
Right. Well, what happened with
you say you haven't patented this
Tesla
yet.
himself, right?
This.
Like, and didn't some of his ideas get stolen from him?
Oh yeah.
Edison, yeah. So
They
there
had that
you
big
go.
battle, right?
Like how bizarre is that?
Well, I mean, that's just opportunism.
How much of that still happens?
I'm guessing a lot. It's probably a lot
much.
less than.
How many
or
of our
no, it's
great
probably way more
ideas?
now.
You're way more now.
Way
yeah.
How
more.
many of our great ideas that we've talked about on this show are now being stolen from us?
I would
huh?
assume all of them are genius ideas.
Right. We've got some real great thoughts going on
We're
here.
innovating everything. But I just find that very interesting because it's like, you know, you can say, oh, I've got this idea or whatever, but it's like, you know, we're all just kind of growing out of ourselves. You know what I mean? Like everything's building off of itself. That's where I kind of get weird about when people start saying like, someone stole my idea or something like that. It's like, well, no, you just kind of, you put the bricks together in the same way that someone else could have, but you had the same input of information in order to get you there.
That's
If you
right.
didn't have that input of information, you would never have put 2 and 2 together.
It happens on such a small scale, and we see it where it might not even be happening.
Mhm.
Like, my wife, she has a rival where
Ooh.
they
Cool.
would make, like, she would make an outfit, like, she makes custom clothing.
Yep.
And then she'd see her rival would do something very similar. It's like,
That's
well, okay, you
awesome.
want to stop that? Why don't you just block this person? Like, what is happening here? But, like, she refuses to.
Well, that's
But now this-
also flattery, right?
Sarah has stopped making outfits and posting them lots, but now this girl is doing that with some other thing, with some other person.
Yep.
And it's like, what is happening here?
Mimicry.
But it's not a competition.
But some
that's
people,
not
But
what
it
it's
is.
about.
It probably is in some form for them.
I don't think
some
it's
people
about
want to
that.
make stuff and they don't feel like coming up with the ideas. Or some people want to make stuff and they just can't visualize it. So they see that and that's all they can fixate on. And now they can't even think of how to change that up for themselves.
They can't unsee it.
They just go in that yeah, they can't see it, they just go in that direction.
It's like if the two of you, say Kevin did a portrait of a rather handsome monkey, right?
Cool.
And then the next week Scott does a different version of that.
Of the same
Like
monkey.
immediately after. It's like, how many people out there want a handsome monkey portrait? That's a little odd, Scott.
I hope
That's
more.
a little odd. Did
Well,
you
that's-
influence them into getting this?
That's something like what
I'm gonna try.
like we get for guys, right? Well, for the last while, and I'm sure every tattooer can resonate with this. It's the trees, like tree forearm wrap thing is.
I know
still a
people with
thing.
those. Yeah.
And it's not like it's a bad idea in its essence, but it's just it's been done a lot. And now, like the other day, Scotty had to do the same thing, but
Yeah.
he did it in a way that was
Yeah.
more fun for him. I
Yeah.
don't know if fun is the right
Oh,
word,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it just worked his brain juices more, and it creates a more unique piece. But this kid still saw the same reference that everybody sees on Pinterest and
Mhm.
goes, "I want that on my arm."
Yeah.
hmm
And so it's one of those like, but he want like it's like you want the exact same thing, you know? That's
I
like
think
because
because that comes from I want a tattoo, but I don't know what I want to get.
Sure.
Did you look at Google? There's
Yeah.
some good stuff on Google sometimes. And then it's like, oh, that looks kind of cool. I'll
Yeah.
take that one.
I could have trees in my arm.
Right.
great tattoo
Like,
ideas
it's
for
not-
guys.
I'm not saying it needs to have a whole crap load of meaning, but I think as I've had people ask me, hey, what should I get for my first tattoo?
Mhm.
And it's like, I don't know. What do you like?
A pirate ship with dicks for cannons.
Because a lot of people don't
idea.
see it as like, oh, I really like art. I want to get a tattoo. It's more like, I want to be cool. How do I get cool? Could I be cool if I had a tattoo?
Well, that was like
Would I get babes? It's like a Napoleon Dynamite type thing where it's like,
could this tattoo help me pick up chicks?
at
it's a
risk of-
liger.
at a risk of sounding like that. I mean, kind of that's where I started. a
Yeah,
little bit.
you said that.
what I mean?
The
Like-
lion.
Yeah, because it was
Yeah.
like that was the first idea I knew, and it was one of those like I want to do a lion. 'Cause
Yeah.
I think that's cool. And then it was like a matter of because the one idea that I really pushed, I think perspective wise was not really achievable, and I wish I had kind of listened to Lee, but
Mhm.
oh well. But it was all these things that were like aesthetically pleasing because for me it was more like I want to have an aesthetically pleasing arm.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was just one of those like I love tattoos, I love tattooing.
Right.
It's less about the like I don't need to have dates crammed into everything.
Oh God.
I want to have the tattoo, and I want it to complement my body. I want it to look cool, and that was like one of the best things with dealing with Lee is that he's big on how it flows with the body and how it's gonna look good, and that was one of those like, oh, great, someone's steering me in the right aesthetic direction, because I didn't have the balls to say it myself. That I just want this that way. I had to kind of like ascribe meaning to things.
Yeah, he's a good one for just getting right to the point of things.
Yeah.
It's helpful.
Yeah,
it honestly
really
is because it's like, yeah, I just kind of want a cool looking arm.
Yeah.
So let's make a cool looking arm.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't have to be. Well, and because you can end up with what my old right arm was, where it was just like every stupid idea that I had was crammed in there somehow by someone who was arrogant and also bad enough to do it, where it was like, why would you do this to someone's arm?
Yeah.
And yeah, that right arm was the worst thing I ever had on me, and it was like, it was kind of the zone of there's no, you know. It's like when you go into McDonald's and you want crispy fries, and I want this thing, and I want that thing, and I did.
And they just ask you anything else?
Yeah, exactly. There's no.
Yeah.
Right. That's what my arm turned into. No zone.
A no zone.
Where the first time I worked with Lee, it was like, yeah, that's a cool reference. We'll both find a different one.
Yeah.
You know, like he didn't insult my idea, but it's like, how can I give you a cool look with that idea?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
Right.
I'm gonna try and take what you want into consideration, and I'm gonna steer you in a better direction.
Right. Where the right arm was just like, yeah, sure. Where's your money? Like that kind of a thing. I'll do it.
Here's
it
your
won't look
your
good.
shitty panther.
Well, I wish, because that would have been better than what ended up happening.
That's at least the cool type of uncool, you know?
Yeah.
Or
I
cool
didn't
type of
have
ugly.
any cool type of uncool on that arm. It was all just like messy colors and like weird stuff that didn't make any sense. And like a big blurry fallen angel up here, and a witch king crammed in here, and a traditional dagger here, a traditional rose here. Like it was just so.
This is the worst when the
Stuff,
styles
man.
all mixed.
But it like it looked like, because of how it was all blended together, it looked like you couldn't pick anything out. It was just
Probably.
like generic tattoo arm. It's like you would have people, nice sleeve, man.
like those
no,
ones
no, not nice
Not
sleeve.
nice.
Like those
Sleeve,
things that you
yes.
can get for
Nice,
Halloween,
no.
where it's like
Yeah.
indiscriminate tattoos.
Yeah, it was just like random tattoo stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's fire and a dagger and a rose and
Yeah.
like.
It's
it
like
was
we
very
started
bad.
watching the show last night, and like there's a nurse on the show that has the worst application of tattoos, like fake tattoos,
Yeah.
I've ever seen in any show. They look like glossy stickers,
Yeah.
and it's all just bad tattoo tropes
Oh, of
everywhere,
course.
and they're all undersized or in the wrong place, or it's just one of those like
They're probably
fuck
on
you
in
guys
different
doing?
places every episode too.
they probably are. I actually should probably start keeping track of
It's
that.
like, wow.
Just go through and screenshot a bunch.
Yeah. Oh man, it was wild, but it was one of those like, oh, this is what you think tattoos are. This is
Yeah.
just-
Yeah.
we'll just put stamps all over this guy because he has to be the edgy one.
Yeah, this will make him the cool guy.
Yeah.
Right? This is what I said. It'll get him babes, right?
Yeah, naturally.
Yeah.
In Dark, there was an application of this.
The
in-
map on the guy's back.
I gotta watch
that
that.
it?
No, I'm thinking of the one where it's like
Oh,
the older
yes.
brother in the second universe.
When he's emo guy.
when he's emo guy just has the
and he
worst
suddenly
tattoos,
has some bad tattoos.
just stuck in all the wrong places. Like
I love
Yeah.
it's incredible.
So
I
you
love it when
have
they do
you
that.
watched that whole show now?
Yeah.
How-
Well, no, I couldn't quite finish season 2. I think it was. It got pretty rough. Season 1 was incredible. Season 2 was like, I don't think we can watch this.
By the end of it, it's worth it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, crap. Okay.
Season 2 is a bit of a hard one to get through.
We watched most of it anyway, so I may as well go back and watch the last 3 episodes or whatever.
but it does pay off big,
Okay, cool.
and it leaves you like, huh?
Because there's just like 4 episodes
Wow.
in a row where you're like, this isn't going anywhere, is it?
It gets really derivative, but it's done for a reason.
Cool.
Like it gets really hard to follow, even where you're like, who is this?
Yeah.
What timeline is this? Where's
It's like hard to follow, so you got to pay attention, but it's like not really paying off.
it gets there?
Cool. 'Cause
Why-
Season 1 paid off.
Why don't we do just mini series? Why is this that we always have to have the next season and the next season and the
That
next
show
season?
was specifically written with however many episodes in mind, but I
Mm-hmm.
do understand what you mean, where it's like, why does this show need 120 episodes? You
Yeah.
had 10 good ones.
Yeah, just leave it at that. Like, make a new show.
Ratings, money.
Yeah, advertisers, I guess.
It's like Sarah reads mangas, like animes.
Mhm.
But like, if you were to watch the same show, The show is 400 episodes, and the manga is only like 10 chapters.
Yeah.
It's because they stretched that story out to its limits so that they can get as much money out of it as they can, and they make up stuff to pad it out. And
Man, imagine what life would be like if we just didn't have to make as much money as possible.
Oh my
well,
god.
yeah, without that incentive, you would have better stories
Yeah.
for sure, because they wouldn't be diluted.
Even just the whole economic structure of, like, I guess mainly America, but I guess it's everywhere. Like, that profit has to increase at all times.
exponentially all the time.
Like, that makes no sense.
Yeah.
But we do it. We accept it.
Well, someone pitched me an idea on like a YouTube comment the other day of something that found quite interesting, is about how body modification started out in a way like just something people did, but it's become its own industry now. And the reason why he thinks that it keeps going to stranger, newer places is because these guys have got to keep finding ways to get people in the door. Right, so social media is
I don't
turned
think that's
it
how
into...
this happened.
No, but it makes
Like-
sense to me that it's like everything becomes a business.
Yeah.
Right. Anything that starts out as like an honest, passionate form of creation becomes commoditized, right?
Yeah, and it
now
gets
all of a
worse.
sudden it's like, okay, now how do I keep paying my bills off of this thing that I do for a living?
Yep.
Right.
See, I think if there's no Google and no tattoo body mod shops, people just wouldn't feel like they have access to certain things. But now there's a shop that offers that. People are like, yeah, I want my head tattooed.
Oh, for
I
sure.
want that many piercings. I want to have some horns here. Let's go hard.
But-
now that those services are just available in the commercial world,
I do see one guy, and I've talked to you about him before, the guy who got his head tattooed first.
Mhm.
And I told you he's got like a bunch of stretched piercings and stuff. He's going nuts right now. Like his progression is scary,
Mhm.
where it's like there's no way you're thinking all of this through. I'm not saying because of what he's getting done. You can get the
Yeah, but
things he's getting
he decided
done.
I want to be tattooed. Here I go.
It's like a runaway train now. Since
Yep.
the first time I brought him up to now, it's like it went faster than I even expected. Because like now he has one of his eyes tattooed.
Oh dear.
Multiple new stretched piercings.
Mhm.
The lip is just getting really carried away. Like it's growing really quick. Like
Yep.
he's up to like 40 millimeters or something. The first time I brought him up, he had a smaller labret than me. It's like, this doesn't end well, right? Like you're going too quick. He's like 10 years younger than us.
Goodness.
Yeah, going too quick is like the biggest
It's
issue.
scary for me.
No
It
kidding.
makes me feel uncomfortable. And it's because, like I told you, this guy, all he follows is other like weirdos.
Okay, but take it back. Take yourself back 10 years, right? When you were getting piercings and it was first initially like you had this kind of more extreme version of the piercing self, more extreme
Yeah.
hair.
For me, I think it was more extreme.
And then it was like you ran at tattoos and then you had a no-no arm,
Yeah.
right? Like I think there's something about age, like when it comes to understanding that time is a lot longer than we understand it to be.
Yeah.
And things can take time, and like that the progression is not you don't have to have that instant gratification in the same way that you once thought you did.
I agree. The only reason why I think this is different is because where we are now from where we are when I was that age,
Way more extreme.
it's way more extreme, and it's
Possibilities are way more extreme too.
Yeah, so we're standing on the shoulders of giants again, where it's
So
like
in
we got
theory-
them to here, and now they're starting here.
Yeah.
And it's like all of this, some of it is irreversible.
But
Some of it is hard to fix.
But compared to your peers, you're going just as hard as he is compared to his peers.
Oh, I know. I'm not saying anything like I don't judge any one thing that he's done. Nothing like that. I just think like some of the territory he's in is really hard to reverse.
Well, we're gonna get
It's
into
easy
a place
enough to
where
black out an arm.
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna get into a place where younger people get into these situations where there's these non-reversible situations,
Yeah.
and then it's gonna become a medical issue, and then all of a sudden it's gonna be like,
Well, that's what's
stricter
happened in
enforcements, you know what I mean?
the UK. With
Yeah.
I was telling you about, they've got the body mod world kind of on lockdown there now.
Yeah.
Like kind of, like you can't do most things without getting in trouble for it now legally. even jail time, whatever.
Yep.
I mean, I'm sure it's still happening, but like in the dark. Probably.
That also makes it more desirable.
What
Oh,
kind of
sure.
body mods are being
any
enforced
kind
with
of tongue splitting
Oh,
and
yeah,
thing
yeah.
like that.
The
All
surgical stuff.
right?
but like
Scarification,
tongue
yeah.
split is kind of like the baby of the pack when it
Yeah.
comes to that stuff. It's really
Which is crazy to me. I can't split my tongue.
well,
It's
but when you
terrifying.
consider what else is happening, like that's
I get
it's-
it.
and a lot of people even that around in Canada have their tongues split stuff. It's
It
kind of
actually
become
looks-
kosher.
Like
in a way.
I never would have thought myself attracted to that, but then I've seen some pictures lately, and I guess you kind of get individual movement, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
you
have
do.
two.
That's actually super cool.
Yeah, it is.
I kind of like
You can do
would
all
like
kinds
that.
of tricks.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's really nifty.
and it's
Kinda.
actually supposed to be fairly painless too,
I
compared to.
just, it's a mental block for me. It's the same reason I'm not getting my ears pierced. I have
Yeah,
a mental block
yeah.
about it. I know
Same
as
reason
soon
I'm
as
not
I
getting
walk
my finger
through it.
cut off for body mod purposes.
That's fair.
I know
Yet.
people who've done
Yet.
stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I know people who've actually done stuff like removal, right?
Mhm,
Like I've
mhm.
told you, I know a couple people who've had their ears removed. Because like I've had people who are like, why even have an ear at this point in regards to my ears? And it's like, well,
Maybe I
because-
like the piercings.
well, I
And
jokingly,
the
you
ear
know,
holds the piercings.
it is more hole than ear, but there's still some ear there.
Yeah, yeah.
Technically.
I'm a fan of holes.
Yeah, I like the holes, and it's a growing project, right? It's always in.
Literally.
if I take,
They're
if I take
expanding.
the,
Yeah.
if
I
I
am
take the ears
expanding.
away, where do I don't have any more?
Where do I
holes.
put my holes?
Where do I put my holes?
Yeah. So to get back to this guy, like I think any one thing that he's done is more or less fine, but I don't like the amount that's happening at the pace that's happening. It
Mhm.
makes me concerned for him.
Yeah.
When I hear these things, I'm just like a little bit jealous because I wish I was on a faster pace myself, but just don't get my crap together. So just kind of like am still, getting one piece at a time every few months, kind of boopity boop along.
It's because you're in the industry, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
Like once
I
you're in,
feel
once
like
you're in
I-
it, it's like
I don't know, like any
Yes.
tattoo artists that get tattooed all the time.
Yeah.
no, you don't.
don't think I've
We-
ever
we-
known
And
We
you
one.
already
won't.
we already spent a ton of time in a tattoo shop.
Yeah,
Like Sarah
it's
has
like
a
you're
few
around it all the time.
tattoo artist friends in Calgary, and like they've got a couple of chest pieces that they
Mhm.
never finished.
Mm-hmm.
Like they just kind of start them one day and then they're just lines forever.
That's how.
Yep.
That's usually how you can see if they're a tattooer.
How the hell is that okay though?
Unfinished
That would drive me
tattoos.
nuts.
That would drive you nuts. But
Yeah.
if you're a tattooer, then all of a sudden you'd be like, I
I can do it anytime.
Have you seen the
'Cause you
bare
do have
space
all
on
the
my
time.
arms? It's unreal.
Yeah, he's got all the bare space.
Yeah.
Well, look at me.
Yeah,
That's
well,
been that way for a long time. I
that's-
could finish it at any time.
I've had the
Yeah.
same gap.
I think you're just immersed in the
8
environment.
months straight.
When you're in a tattoo shop and you're working there, I don't think you need to almost clout that you're a part of the tattoo community. But
Man,
when,
Mhm.
all I will say though, as soon as he had that tattoo, I was sitting here going, "Man, I need another tattoo."
Yeah.
well,
like, that was
yeah, you got the
immediate.
itch.
Oh yeah.
Sarah will get the itch when I get new tattoos, or she does sometimes, but obviously it's reduced greatly by how many times I get tattooed.
Yeah.
But speaking of that, I only get tattooed every 2 weeks now.
hmm
Sometimes it doesn't feel like enough.
Whoa.
Like so,
Oh really?
What a
well,
surprise.
So
Yeah.
well, no, like I really have
Understand
to
it.
like. It's just another week. You know what I mean? Like it sometimes feels like I'm having withdrawals.
I don't doubt that.
Like it's hard to explain, and that probably sounds insane.
Nah.
But like when
I-
you do
No, it
this, I
doesn't.
used to go 3 times sometimes a week, and
I'm
now
ta-
it's
I'm
like,
tattoo hungry right now. Not that tattoo hungry.
well, now
good
it's
lord.
like, oh, when we do start this next project, I'm like, that's really the kind of thing you want to go quick on, but
Mhm.
I don't want to go quick on because I want to
You-
keep tattooing.
you gotta
Mhm.
savor it.
Right. I don't have that much time left. Really, I don't. Like, if I'm being honest, like, if I kept going at a week, eventually I'm gonna end up Lucky Diamond Rich,
Mhm.
where it's like he looks like the guy's sweet. He's a sweet guy, but like he looks like a goblin.
Mhm.
Like he honestly looks like a goblin now. It looks kind of cool, but like he's done so much to himself that it's like there's no space left, and then there's no space left on top of that, and then it's a third over, like his whole head is done, his whole face, everything.
Yep.
And it's been done multiple times. He's a Guinness Book of World Records holder for most tattoo sessions or whatever.
I feel like that
fair.
record's been broken by now.
It might be, but if you see the guy, it's like,
Yeah, he seems like he's got
Yeah.
a lot.
Also, how do you beat this guy who's
Yeah.
been getting tattooed?
I'm
multiple times
not
forever?
interested in competing with him, but like I understand that if I don't slow my pace down to some extent, but I keep wanting to get tattooed, and where does that end?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So
Palm blackout.
these kinds of measures have to be taken for my long game almost.
I
where
still think a dot at a time, he'd be able to do it.
Of course you could.
if I knew how to do it, I would have done it during lockdown myself. I would have been working on it. But I don't want to be the guy who orders a tattoo machine and then I'm, doing tattoos in my basement.
Well, I don't think it necessarily would be good for you to do it, especially for your right palm.
Mm.
Um,
Well, with my
unless you
left
really
offhand.
want to, unless you really want an experiment with it. But like,
Well, no, stick and poke, you're fine left.
oh, I guess, yeah.
Yeah,
hey.
you're just going one poke at a bloody time here.
Well, I was just still thinking a machine,
Oh yeah.
just because. I mean, but I guess stick and poke. Would
No,
also
a
be good.
machine's still more holes. I think in this case you really want stick and poke.
Yeah,
I
you
mean,
really want one dot
realistically,
at a
I could
time.
have a tattoo machine and some cheap ink here within
Cheap
a
ink,
week.
Wow.
I know. This is what I'm saying.
Don't do that.
You can go the Amazon route and have everything delivered to your house in
I
3
feel
days.
like- I
8
feel like you-
gallons of ink, eh?
I feel like you know some people. You can get good ink at least.
Yeah.
Of course,
You,
but
you
what
use
I'm
a shit
saying is like,
machine.
I
mediocre
actually had a
needles,
guy
and good ink, you'll be fine.
offer to make me my own custom tattoo machine, but I was like,
The Remy.
he's like, it'll be the blackest tattoo machine you've ever seen, and I'm
That's
like,
most of them.
I
Yeah.
won't be able to do anything with it. I think he thought I was an artist and he was looking to like sponsor me or
Remy
something.
endorsed.
You have the amount of tattoos that
Oh, I
tattooers
get-
would have.
I've had people message me, how much do you charge for blackouts? It's like, I should just tell them some crazy number.
It's $30,000 an hour.
Yeah.
Tell them a crazy
I don't
number.
charge by the hour. I'm too fast.
Yeah, too fast.
Tell them a crazy number. Send them to me and tell them I'm your apprentice.
This is
That'd be great.
Scott. He's basically as good as I am.
That's right.
I charge $30,000 an hour. He charges $10,000.
Yeah, this guy.
It's a deal.
Listen, this guy knows what he's up to. He can get some black work done for you. Don't worry.
His-
10,000 an hour.
His normal rate is here, but his blackout rate it's $12.50 an hour.
And we're doing it stick and poke.
Yeah.
So
This is
get
my
ready.
fa-
It'll be
1,000
the
hour blackout
darkest
suit.
black you've ever seen, but
That's
it will
it.
take 10 years.
Yeah. And then we do touch-ups.
Yeah.
And that is at your cost.
Yeah, this is now a lifelong pursuit.
No, we don't need touch-ups. We just start over again at the bottom.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Because it's going to be like a fade already.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, by the time you get to the bottom, the top is like fucking blue or green or
When
something.
we say lifestyle, we mean the lifestyle of getting tattooed every day.
I have people message me and ask me, like, if any of my ink is going green.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm not going green.
Yeah.
No, I'm not going green.
It's-
There's no way I'm gonna be the green man.
Green out tattoo?
Well, yeah, I've heard people say that. Oh, well, the only problem with blackout tattoos is it becomes a green out eventually. I'm like,
Yeah.
a green out?
Yeah, like there's
I don't
some,
think so.
there's some inks that are used, especially in Europe, that go green.
That's
I just did a removal
gross.
on some. There was a guy with some on his fingers, and he got it done in Italy. And this was a while back, because obviously everybody uses the same stuff now.
Yeah.
But back then, yeah, I guess. But like, it was what would normally happen to a fade out with black, but it turns green.
Well,
It
it's
was
like
like a
those old
weird
sailor
kind of-
tattoos would have a green hue to them.
Must just have like a
Mhm.
little bit of copper in it or something.
You see that roll of saran?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like
Cool.
in
Weird.
his finger.
I,
But
I,
it
can- I can
reacted.
picture it.
It reacted the same.
Huh.
It was
It's
weird.
like I can imagine blue,
Yeah.
but like a blue hue. You don't want
Yeah,
to
like
full blue.
yours is kind of like cool blue now, if anything.
It's got
If we have
like
to
like a
Yeah.
bluey dark gray black, but like there's parts that are you can see the difference in the blacks,
Mhm.
right? Like you can see where this is a hard black and this has got like a blue tinge.
Mhm.
But like I've never seen green.
Oh, dude, this was the first time I've ever seen it. I've heard about it. But
Yeah.
this is the first time in real life I was like, oh. And I had to
Oh, that's
ask
real.
Rick. I had to ask Rick about it, and he's like, yeah, man, some stuff in Europe, especially with some people that use like drawing inks or that Pelican ink kind of thing. There's
Mm.
some that are out there, especially in Europe, that go green.
There is some really strange stuff happening in my mind with the black on black stuff where it's like it's a trick. It's a real trick. How could I have blacked out my neck 3 times and it's kind of driving me nuts, but in a mostly good way, where it's like, how has my neck been blacked out 3 times, but we still got a darker black?
Part of it is the fact that you're using a liner.
I know, but imagine
the
if you tried to do a whole sleeve with a liner.
Oh, you're never gonna get it even.
Right, it would be terrible.
Not even once. Yeah.
But it's really like,
I mean, you could, but you'd be doing dots.
That's the thing. But then you're not lining.
No.
So
but how
using
dark
a liner
would it be?
with the lining technique,
Right? Yeah.
is a different. It's always a different texture and different render than smooth.
It's
No
like
matter
I
what
gotta
you do.
tell you, like my brain is just expanding constantly
Yeah.
right now, where it's like, good lord, the possibilities are endless, and it's almost too much to process.
Mm-hmm.
Because then it makes me feel like I'm nowhere close to the end.
Well, you're at square one then.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
That's the weirdest part about this possibility. Is like, oh shit, I have no tattoos.
Yeah. Oh shit, I have no tattoos. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Oh no, what did I do?
I was thinking about how I have this here.
Yep.
And I always said I think that like neck tattoos look strange if they don't have chest tattoos attached to them. And now I'm like, oh, I have a
Totally see
floating neck tattoo.
You
But
did
it's
it.
like, no, I have
Congratulations.
multiple layers, but like it's a weird mind trip where it's like, okay, we just re-blacked out my chest and it's super dark, but like it's not as dark as this. So that means I could put more on there.
That's the difficulty with possibility,
And
right?
and then it goes from when we started doing the black on black at the end of November, it was like, we'll do real small, right? Some little filigree stuff, whatever, that'll work. And then it's like, what else will work? And now it's like, oh, we can do a whole tattoo.
Mm-hmm.
Like we can do a whole thing.
Yep.
So now I was talking about just doing like the tentacles here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm like, what do I put up here to go with that? You know, like we may as well make a whole fucking scene of it.
Yeah, of course.
And
Well,
it's
well,
like,
it's good in lining. I'd love it if it was tentacles grabbing an anatomical heart or something.
well, it's gonna be some kind of a sea monster type thing.
Yeah.
Is what I'm going with. I have a vision of what I want to do, but it's always like getting. So I had a vision of the first time too, and obviously it didn't go the way I wanted. It was just like it looked like almost like linguine noodles. The tentacles were just too thin and too like they just looked weak. You know,
Mhm.
I want like big, gruesome monster stuff happening if I'm gonna do anything. And I think I'm with the right guy now for that.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes,
like
you are.
arguably, I should have been with him all along.
Yes.
But I still think that the black on black will look really cool.
Yeah, of course it will.
Like it's
Will you
It's
do
just-
white for that part?
there'll be some white too.
Ooh, baby.
I told Rick last week I want to take like a year or better working on this.
Oh,
Like I want
wow,
to make
okay.
it like as good as possible. No shortcuts. I'm in for the long haul. Like cuz I don't know what he was expecting, but I was like if we're going to do anything with this, from the minute we draw a line, it's now incomplete.
Mm-hmm.
Until we touch it, it's complete. But once we touch it, we're working on this for a year probably.
Yeah, that sounds right.
So it's quite the commitment this time where it's like
bloody kidding.
I like that he's like, it's quite the commitment. He's had his full body tattooed multiple times.
This
Quite
black
the
on
commitment.
black is the commitment.
Quite the
though.
commitment to do this thing over the year that I've been doing for the last, what, 10 years?
well, really, it's been what 13 years since I got my first
What I'm
tattoo.
hearing
There you
is
go.
empty nester syndrome.
Yeah.
There is,
so.
yeah, there
Well,
is,
if I finished and now I am.
it's similar. It's
What
like
do I do?
having,
I guess we
but
can
now
make
I
an
get
addition to the
grandbabies.
house.
I'm
and-
lonely for more.
But now I
holes in
get
my skin.
grandbabies, but I only see them every 2 weeks.
So weird, but it's so true.
When I were my own babies, I was, raising them 2 times a week. But now I have a reduced capacity. But yeah, it is. It's a little like being like at the start of I have no tattoos.
Yeah.
And I didn't
As soon
think
as
I
you
would
did the
feel
first rose, as soon as you got the first line, I was like, ooh, you just dug a well. Because all of
Yeah.
a sudden now you're like, oh, shit. I can do
Guess I'm tattooing my whole body
I can
again.
do this all. And then if I don't like it, I can undo it. Like you have unlimited possibility, which is crazy.
Which is insane because so many people think that it's the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's almost like
Oh,
once you
congratulations,
black
you
out,
finished.
there's no going back. It's like, well, you can't go back, but you can kind of start over.
Yeah.
Because now it's almost like a charcoal drawing.
Mm-hmm. Really? Yeah.
And I'm interested to see, like always, we did the Remy reacts last week, and when I watched that video, I was like, holy shit, those things are punchy.
Yeah.
It's like they're there. Because like my visualization of black on black was always probably like what we've talked about, where it's like it's gonna be real subtle.
That's right.
Like you won't really see it much. And I was kind of like, okay, that's fine.
Yep.
That'll be cool. It'll be a nice little thing that you will see every now and then. But then you're like, oh, it's actually there.
Yeah.
And
Well,
then it's
my
like,
curiosity is, give it 4 years. That black on black's gotta get real subtle.
well,
you
it
know?
might, but like, I heard one guy say the reason why it holds up better than white on black is because as the old black fades, so does the new black, but
Yeah.
it keeps it in contrast with one another.
Huh.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
like the new black sitting on top
Yeah.
is fading, but it doesn't. It's fading at a different speed and a
Versus
different
white, which we know fades way faster than black.
and changes quite a
Yeah,
bit. Like
yeah.
it'll go kind of yellowy.
Can I see the hand quick? Oh yeah.
But which in this case might actually not be a bad thing anyway.
Well, what I was going to say is you've created a kind of darker gray texture with the white.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So then all of a sudden what you have is you have your regular black, you have a darker black, and you have like a gray kind of vibe.
A
You
dark
can
tone.
almost do black and gray.
You got 3
tattoos.
tones, man. You
Yeah.
got 3 tones. That's huge.
I know.
Like that in itself is like, holy shit. You can do a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a hard time with because I get so many people asking me about this now. I had a girl that you tattooed recently
Mhm.
message me the other day. This I don't remember her name, but I'm
Mhm.
sure you know who I mean. She's got something blacked out by you,
Oh yeah.
and she was asking me if Rick could do something over the blackout, and I was like I'm not really.
Not for her.
Well, I'm sure it isn't. But what I'm saying is
Rick
like
has no interest of doing another one.
oh I don't imagine he wants to do it all the time,
No.
right? Like this is.
Oh,
he
I-
loves
I-
the challenge with you, but for anyone else, no.
Well, yeah, it's not worth it to be doing it all the time. But what I was getting at is like, I'm not really in this long enough to give people advice on it.
Mm.
Like, any counsel I can give you about this is going to be like not even anecdotal, because this is not a proven science for me yet. I don't consider this a proven science until I've had it for a few years,
Yeah.
because then I can tell you how it's changed or if it's changed.
until you've had that sunburn, until you've seen how it ages.
Well, I
until-
want to
until-
see.
until.
I want to see how I live with it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because this is all new. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at a couple years from now. I can say I think it's going to stay, but
This-
that's not an honest.
Does it feel drastically different to stand in the sun now?
Oh, for sure. This is something that I've talked about on my vlog before,
Don't
but
get trapped
never
in the
here.
desert.
It's like if I go out in the summer, it's always a joke because it's like, oh, it's pretty hot. Why are you wearing that hoodie? It's like because I'm like a fucking thermal reactor.
Yeah.
Like I am on fire
Just
in
the
the
heat
sun.
sink.
And like as soon as I can feel it on the back of my neck, I'm like, danger, danger, danger,
Hmm.
because it gets so hot.
God damn.
Like I
Well,
bake
it makes sense. Now he's part metal, right?
part metal, and
well,
also
and
like the black
Black
attracts
absorbs
sun.
the light.
Yeah.
It's
It's absorbing those rays.
absorbs the light, which is another problem with photography.
Yep.
Like it's crazy trying to take pictures of blackouts.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Sucks.
So like sometimes you'll look like a completely different human being.
hmm
When I used to have my old tattoos, I never had to worry about like what the light was that
Yeah,
day. It was just they always looked generally the same.
Yep.
With blackouts, you either look sleek and like hard black.
Yep.
Or you look like a fucking Smurf.
Yeah.
Like it's almost no in between.
Yeah. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's
The
really
potential
weird.
for reflection is so high. Like the contrast goes so whack.
This place, our Remy Reacts, this podcast, it always looks nice and even.
Mhm.
Like it's great, but like you get someone at the wrong angle, with the wrong lighting, it's like holy shit! I didn't even know there were flaws there. Like you can see everything. The light illuminates everything.
Well, that's one of those things where it's like you have things underneath your blackout.
Yep.
That doesn't change. You've scarred the areas. Those shapes are still there in the scars. Like even if we were to laser you and remove absolutely everything,
Yeah.
you're still gonna have scars there for whatever the shape of the tattoo was.
That's
how it
where
is.
there was one on my neck that Rick has blacked out. Lee has blacked out. This has been blacked out 4 times. This circle and it just you could still see it. You could still see it even after the last time Rick did it. You couldn't see it well, but like you could still see it sometimes. And I'm like, the black on black has now masked it. It's gone forever.
Yep.
You will never notice it again.
Yep.
'Cause
Well,
it's-
you put something there.
It's covered.
Yeah. You
It's-
got a tattoo there.
I got covered over the black cover has a cover up. It's insane the level of.
The fact that makes any difference at all, right?
But it's a distraction because if you were right up on it with a light, with like a flashlight, you could probably still see it.
Fair.
But your eye will never find it because there's a rose on top of it now.
Mm.
So
No, it's part of with a cover up, right? It's distracting the eye.
Yeah, but with all that black like background,
Mhm.
it's like wow, good luck finding it now.
Yeah.
if
So-
we want to push the envelope here, I really think we should get the laser out and laser some negative spaces for you to tattoo some stuff in there.
I mean, we could do that.
That made the tentacles pop.
The laser scarification white ink is all the same thing.
Yeah.
There.
It's the same idea. You're
Creating contrast. where
creating
there wasn't.
contrast in the old
Yeah.
black, right?
Well, the issue that you would run into is if you're lasering over an area that has color. I can remove the black, and then all of a sudden, color is going to be there.
Well, that's what I'm curious. I want to see what happens there.
How many
Maybe-
fucking layers are you going through?
I
Like,
you know,
good
I would
lord,
have
man.
no idea.
But all the
Genuinely, no
But
idea.
all the ink has now kind of mixed into
Yeah.
that not subcutaneous, dermis area, and is all kind of hanging out together, right? The black just happens to dominate. So really, it's like if that black is broken up by the laser and disperses, what stays behind?
That's
right?
a really good question.
like yeah, like
I
so
don't
I'd
know
be
what's
super,
in there.
I'd be super curious to see.
I mean, I would assume it's similar to like removing an old tattoo where like the
He's
black
interested,
has.
Kevin. Look at this.
He
He's
does
seem
into it.
interested.
This is the stuff that really, really
I think we should-
intrigues me.
I think we should do it over your little characters, those little pixelated characters on your ankle.
Oh
'Cause
yeah.
those were so cool. It'd be really cool to laser over that and see what comes up. Because the old image was so well defined and so clear and so sharp edged. It'd be really fun to see what the laser does to it. See if the black will go away and if something else will stay behind.
What I want to know is how crazy it must hurt. Because the amount of black that's in there, the amount of black pigment that's in there, and it's put in there well.
yeah.
Anytime you have things that are like in there,
Mhm.
man, that thing's gonna be snapping. It's gonna hurt.
Snapping.
That's what like anytime you're back there, like when you'll see the areas that are like either scarred or saturated heavily,
Mhm.
and they'll snap different than the light stuff.
Ugh.
So it's like you can tell how a tattoo is going in its removal by the sound that's coming out. So it's like you'll be going through like light stuff and it'll be like, and then you'll hit a black spot and it's like bam, you get this.
So I would
loud
just be popping all over the place.
yeah, you'd be popping and locking. Probably
Popping
to a
and
level,
snapping.
probably to a level that I have never seen.
right.
I'd probably start off really light, cause geez, I can't
Yeah.
imagine.
I'd take it slow, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's
It's
been
different though for healing though, right? Like you can get tattooed every 2 weeks. You can get tattooed every week if you want to, but you can get tattooed every 2 weeks for healing. But for laser, man, 6 weeks.
That's insane. Can you imagine trying to laser off a full body black suit?
People
No.
have done it.
They've
That would
done
take-
it.
That would take way
Well,
too
well,
long.
maybe not full black suit,
I don't
but
know if they have.
Didn't the one dude get his full body lasered?
I don't.
Who?
Yeah, I'm sure it's happened. I'm
Yeah,
sure that's
the-
happened.
Who's the one dude?
Skeleton boy?
Just that one dude.
Oh, you're talking about
You know the one.
Rick Gahest or whatever.
Yeah.
He died a few years ago. He was using a cover up.
From laser poisoning.
If you're talking about where he had no tattoos, that was a cover up. It was his own product.
oh, right.
He
yeah,
ran
yeah.
like a fashion line.
That's usually what I see. Like
Yeah.
Justin Bieber did that the other day where he was like, he put makeup all over it to
Well,
film a video.
Rick Gahest, or I think that's how you say his name. He had a video that was like viral of
Mhm.
him like taking cover up off and revealing his tattoos.
Oh, yeah. I know who
Yeah.
you're talking about.
Like
yeah,
that was an
Skeleton Boy.
amazing video. It
Yeah,
was
that
like
wasn't-
probably back in
Just cute.
2012.
Yeah, no, he is wearing cover up.
Is that it? Oh,
Yeah.
come on.
That's cover up.
No,
This
in-
is a
in-
video I'm
If you
talking
were to
about.
laser, you wouldn't look like that afterwards.
No, I was gonna say.
You'd have all those shapes still there with
Yeah,
like,
that's one hell of a
kind of
round
beat up
laser.
looking skin underneath
Right?
it.
Yeah, he was huge. He was a really, really huge tattoo influencer.
Yeah.
People loved that guy.
Mhm.
Yep.
Like,
Well,
they-
he started it before anyone was doing that.
yeah,
Wasn't
he was.
he in 47 Ronin?
He was in something. I don't know exactly what, but he was. People always were like, "Good luck getting a job." It's like this guy's a fashion designer.
Yeah, no.
Like, he's doing
get many
fine.
jobs. People that
He's
care
doing
about
fine.
people that care about like that's a guy that cares about the aesthetic of his body.
Yeah.
And people that care about the aesthetic of their body care about the aesthetic of a lot of things.
Yeah, exactly.
And
It's not
in
a
the
surprise to
industry
me.
of aesthetic, you can get work.
Yeah.
People love aesthetic.
Yeah, it's not a surprise to me when you see a guy like that with his shit together
Mhm.
because that stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
Mhm.
It's not
Mhm.
like you just walked into a Scratcher's Hubble and went, yeah, give me the zombie boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to be this.
Yeah.
Especially because a Scratcher's hovel will take you 90 years to do that much work.
Yeah. And you'll have how many infections and how much bad scarring.
That's right.
A lot.
You'd
Yeah.
die way before he did die.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So, but yeah, no, this whole black on black thing is, it's been strange for me to see. It's been like the most challenging for me in a way mentally.
I remember seeing like when you were coming up on the end of your blackout suit, as you called it, like whatever proverbial end there was.
Yeah.
There. I remember seeing you kind of like mourning a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you had this kind of like sadness to you of like, oh, I'm done,
Yeah.
and now all of a sudden it's like I'm starting.
Yeah.
It's
Which
very
I'm not
interesting to see.
entirely sure how I feel about. Like, I'm happy about it, but
Yeah.
like, it's also like exhausting to think about
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt that at all.
because
Because
I
you were
always
looking for other things to kind of like redirect that energy to, right?
Mhm.
You were like, man, what if I just get huge?
Yeah.
I
If
still
I
think
just-
I still think that's a great option.
Yeah, it is a great option. It's
Take
just
all the
it's
steroids.
really confusing to get big on your own. I think I need a gym. I think I really need that
Well, you definitely have to go to the gym for sure.
because like I've leaned out quite a bit over the last year.
Yeah.
But like getting big is different.
Well, once
I know
you,
how to lose weight.
once you start piercing here, then we can just all roll up to the gym just around the corner every morning.
That's
Take
what
our
Lee was
steroids.
telling
Get a
me.
workout
That's what,
in.
no, that's what Lee was telling me because he used to go to the gym with you.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
like, you and Kevin should be at the gym. He's a
Yeah.
little beast. He said he's a little beast. I go, really?
I can lift weights.
Yeah. He's like, that guy's like a little animal.
Yeah.
He's like,
I've got my Hungarian blood in me. I'm a
'Cause-
workhorse.
because I told him I was like, I can lean down. I can cut weight pretty easy, but gaining weight is complicated for me to
Ye-
get my mind around.
You're
Because all I'm
telling
gonna
me-
think if I see weight
Yeah.
going up, well, no, but like, because all I'll think is I'm getting fat again.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you'll have that number issue.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I'll see like 170, and I'm like, oh Jesus, I better not eat a burger for a while.
The
you know?
problem is the number doesn't do it.
I
Like,
know.
the number's not a like that. That's where they have those new scales now, which I think are a far better approach, which is the BMI scale or whatever. So
Mm.
it'll tell you your body composition. So it's like if you're
Do
like, oh, I'm
those
down
act-
5
they
pounds, it
work?
just says like
That-
you
how
have
does
less
it tell?
water.
Is it like a smart?
Yeah.
Fuck if
Like
I
you
know.
have to program it with your weight. And,
I have no
like,
idea. I
height
want to
and-
get one, but like apparently it's supposed to be pretty close. I mean, obviously you can't get really close unless you do those like where you're suspended in water and then they
Yeah,
measure
exactly.
the whatever.
But
But like,
issue with body mass index is I go look it up on the BMI chart and it's like height, weight. Hey, that doesn't account for someone's entire physiology. That's
No, it
crazy.
can't.
No.
but I think like when you're dealing with averages,
Yeah.
you can probably say that.
Yeah.
And it's like a good generalization tool, but for specificity, no. That's
No.
one of the reasons that I like the idea of that scale because it's like, oh, okay, well, I can.
Yeah, because
I can
a
be a
flat
little bit
number
more-
just makes you feel like you're getting pudgy or something.
Yeah.
Like if you gain 10 pounds, it's like you don't really necessarily know that that's 10 pounds of muscle.
No.
I've been trying to gain 10 pounds for so long.
I know. You said you have a really hard time getting weight.
Yeah.
I don't. Like I can just go on. If I went free range and ate whatever the hell I wanted for a week, I'd come in here and like all of a sudden this shirt is like, you know, a little tight. It's not hard for me to gain weight. I just want to make sure that the weight's coming on the right way.
See, I had a nice big breakfast. Like we're talking liver and vegetables and
That
bread
is
and
a
all kinds of stuff.
It's quite the breakfast.
Nice big
What kind of
breakfast.
breakfast is
I'm
that?
not eating eggs anymore. for
That's
breakfast, so here we
like-
are.
Just eating a nice liver pate for breakfast.
Yeah, yeah.
No, it's
liver
like
and
An
onions.
actual piece of liver.
Ugh.
Have you had liver in your adult life?
Yeah.
It's lovely.
I love liver pate,
Oh.
but just liver? Nah, I'm good.
So, but then I still have to pack like a few slices of bread to eat between the podcast and starting tattooing, so that I have some calories.
See,
to
that's
tide me over
insane.
till lunch.
I would be gaining weight.
But that's because like you're gonna have an inflammatory response from that.
Hmm.
You'll gain weight, as in your body will store water in order to shuttle around those carbohydrates and sugars that you just added onto. So it'll look like you gained a number. But in his respect, he doesn't have that same issue. If he eats bread, he doesn't gain inflammation. He probably does gain inflammation, but not in the same way that we do. He's probably living with a certain amount of inflammation that would maintain that. But like that's one of the tricks about like losing weight fast is like all this is water. Like for actually getting your fat, what do they call that?
Metabolizing?
No, not metabolized. There's a, I can't remember, but like the release of adipose tissue or whatever it's called. But it's like that takes longer than just the quick result saying like, oh man, I gained 5 pounds. Well, you probably didn't. You probably are retaining water.
That's what I always tell Sarah. She gets on the scale. She's like, I weigh a pound more than last week. I'm like, you can't do this. This isn't how this works.
Well, and like fat is a weird one too, because fat either grows or shrinks. You don't lose it because you have fat cells in your body. And
What?
you didn't know that?
No.
Yeah. That's why you can only get so much liposuction because you're removing the physical fat cells. And if you remove too much, you die.
So, wait.
That's why people grow in different ways in like awkwardly for fat storage because fat cells themselves increase. So have you ever seen someone that's really obese and you see their pores?
Yeah.
Their pores have expanded. They don't have a different amount of fat cells. They have
just,
increased
they've
volume
enlarged.
in each cell.
Weird.
Because they're storage, they're little storage
makes
pockets,
sense.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
So those storage pockets grow, but the storage pocket itself is one.
So I just don't have storage pockets.
Well, you have inefficiency of like so probably genealogically.
I don't fill those pockets well.
No, you probably grew up like your genes probably are from somewhere that had consistent food.
Yeah.
Because it's more common for people that struggle with this kind of like because your genetic memory is huge.
Of course.
Right? So it's like your body, you're trying to get your body to grow in a way that cellularly it's not really predisposed to, right?
Yeah.
But you're not actually increasing the amount of fat in your body, you're increasing the size of each fat cell, which is just storage, right? So if anytime you see someone that has, like my issue is from an area that is associated with famines.
I wonder if there's a peptide for this.
Probably.
I wonder if I can take a peptide that encourages
well,
the growth of
HGH
my fat cells.
HGH in itself is a human growth hormone.
I've done the research in HGH, and I don't like the cancer risk.
Well, that's the other issue is because it's creating growth in all forms of cells.
Right.
And that includes
Creates,
cancer, that includes fat, that includes
So first
muscle.
and foremost, I'm going to go to the doctor and get my, what do you call my skin cancers. Get my melanomas checked out before I start any HGH nonsense. I got to do a lot more research first. What if there's a peptide though that's just about unlocking your body's access to those fat cells?
Yes, there is. Melanotan, I think is what
I
it's called.
thought that was like to give you a tan.
It
without
does
going
do
to the
that
sun.
too, but it also helps encourage the release of adipose tissue.
No, but I want to encourage the building of it.
Then don't. Well, okay. So here's a great question. What happens to you if you go out in the sun?
I mean, I tan slowly.
Tan slowly.
I've
Have you ever?
I've got that
I can't picture
Scottish-
you tanned.
Oh, well, I've lived in the tropics for lots of my life.
When you were
So-
there, did you have a tan?
Yeah. Like I don't get brown, but I get a decent tan. Like I can show you
Interesting.
pictures where I'm tanned. It took me like a few years to like get built up to there. My first time when I was living in Mexico, I got a bunch of crazy sunburns. I really had to build up slow. But no, I'm at the point now I can go to a foreign country and in a month I'm kind of tanned and have some sun tolerance.
And do you feel different? Do you have increased energy? Do you have decreased energy? Because like if you're Scottish, you're kind of meant to be pale because there's no
That's
sun,
right. Yeah.
No,
No, I've got like ginger blood.
Yeah.
I've got redheads in my family and stuff.
Yeah,
Interesting.
so I could
Yeah.
see it. You're quite pale.
Yeah. Oh,
Can't
yeah.
picture you as tanned.
Yeah.
I'm not. It's not a bad thing. I don't mind pale.
That's one of the reasons I like foreign countries because
Yeah.
I kind of like I prefer looking in the mirror when I'm tan too.
Yeah.
I look in the mirror right now. I'm like, ugh, fucking some ghostly shit.
I think it's pale is associated with sick, right? So
Yeah. So they should get it.
Hey Terry, can you grab that? I think it's probably your console. Probably.
yeah. Well, it is a tattoo shop.
So what
after all.
were you leaning towards when you asked that question? So you're saying there might be a deficiency of melatonin?
Not necessarily a deficiency, but just if you're trying to gain.
I know the one you're talking about. I've read about it, or not read about it, but I've read forums where people mention it, and it's not melatonin. It's some other weird word with extra N's and stuff.
I got nothing on that. All I know is I'm pretty pale too.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, we're all pretty pasty.
Says the guy with a blackout suit.
Yeah. Well, that makes my face pop more.
When I do tan, I feel so much better though.
Makes my face pop.
Imagine me with like a spray tan or something on the face.
Yeah.
It's like, what? There's no contrast. What are you doing?
Well, and you're never going to be the guy that wants to go to Mexico for a vacation.
No.
True.
God, no.
True.
Ted Cruz. Yeah.
That's kind of why I waited until now to carry on with my arms, just because like surfing, traveling, all these activities are so sun intensive.
When I was first getting tattooed, I didn't really have much on my arms because I was like, I'm a cook. I'm going to destroy them anyway. That was my mindset.
Yep.
Then at some point, it was just like, well, I'm full here. Let's keep going though, because like I didn't start getting sleeves until quite a bit later into my tattooing. Actually, I had face tattoos before I had sleeves.
Wow.
God.
Well, I had a lot going on in here first, right?
It's still backwards by the standard metric though.
Oh, I know. I had a really strange tattoo development where it was like stuff under the shirt.
Yep.
Like full up under the shirt kind of thing, and then stuff on my face. And then sleeves. Like it was kind of like sideways progression. Because it's not it's not typically because it's not like this going back to front. It was kind of like going middle to back to then straight through. Like it was a weird progression. So
well, I mean, everybody's got their own journey.
yeah, I guess so. Mine's just a little different.
Yeah.